You've seen the urgent warnings. Claim at the right time. Don't leave money on the table. Fine advice. But here's what those videos almost never say. Social Security rules hit men differently than women. Not unfairly, not by design, but because of how men typically work, earn, claim, and plan. Three specific rules create traps that male retirees walk into more often than female retirees do. Men generally receive higher Social Security benefits. That sounds like an advantage, but higher benefits also mean higher stakes when something goes wrong, and 39% of male retirees rely on Social Security as a major source of income. For those men, one bad claiming decision isn't a minor setback, it's a permanent financial wound. Three rules, three traps, and one of them involves your wife's benefit, which most men never think about until it's too late. Stay with me. Meet Robert. He's 63, still working part-time as a contractor. He took early Social Security at 62 because, frankly, he figured he'd earned it. 40 years of work. He was tired. The check felt like a reward. What Robert didn't realize, because he was still working and earning above a certain threshold, Social Security started holding back part of his benefit, withholding it. Not permanently, but the paperwork, the confusion, the reduced monthly deposits, that caught him completely off guard. His wife, Linda, 61, assumed she'd eventually get her own small benefit based on her part-time work history. Nobody told her she might qualify for a spousal benefit based on Robert's record, potentially worth significantly more. Robert and Linda are not unusual. They made three very common mistakes that are far more likely to affect male retirees, not because men are careless, but because the rules are genuinely confusing, and the financial guidance that reaches most men tends to skip these specific details. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what those three rules are, how to recognize them in your own situation, and what to do before you make a decision you cannot undo. Before we get into each rule, understand the overall stakes. Claiming Social Security at 62 instead of waiting until your full retirement age, which is 67 for most men watching this video, permanently reduces your benefit by up to 30%. On a $2,000 monthly benefit, that's $600 gone every month for the rest of your life. Over 20 years, that's $144,000 in lost income gone. Not because you did anything illegal, not because you missed a deadline, but because of one early claiming decision. Add the earnings test trap on top of that, where working while collecting can trigger additional withholding, and some men end up in a situation where they're working hard, collecting less than expected, and wondering what went wrong. These aren't edge cases. These are the three rules. Let's go through each one. Rule number 1, the earnings test trap. Here's a rule that surprises men every single year. If you claim Social Security before your full retirement age and you're still working, your benefit can be reduced based on how much you earn. This is called the retirement earnings test, and it applies between age 62 and the year you reach full retirement age. The 2026 threshold is $24,480 per year. That's roughly $20–40 per month in earned income. Earn above that, Social Security withholds $1 for every $2 you earn over the limit. Let's run the numbers on Robert's situation. Robert earns $36,000 a year from his contracting work. That's $11,520 above the $24,480 limit. Social Security withholds $5,760 from his annual benefit, about $480 per month. His check drops significantly, and he's frustrated because he thought claiming early was a smart move. Why does this hit men harder? Because men are statistically more likely to keep working past 62. Physically demanding careers, construction, manufacturing, trucking, often push men toward early claiming for relief, even while some income continues. That combination of early claiming plus continued earnings is exactly where the earnings test bites. Two things to know that most people miss. First, The withheld money is not entirely lost. Once you reach full retirement age, SSA recalculates your benefit upward to account for the months that were withheld. You get some of it back, but slowly, over time, and only if you live long enough. Second, in the calendar year you reach full retirement age, the limit jumps dramatically to $65,520 in 2026, and the withholding rate drops to $1 for every 3 over the limit. Once you actually hit full retirement age, the earnings test disappears entirely. The practical fix? If you plan to keep working with meaningful income, seriously consider whether claiming before full retirement age makes financial sense. Run the numbers first. The SSA has a free calculator at ssa.gov/benefits/retirement/planner/whileworking.html. Rule number 2. The early claiming trap. This is the rule most men know about in theory, but underestimate in practice. You can claim Social Security as early as age 62. For most men watching this, your full retirement age is 67. Wait until 70, and your benefit grows by 8% per year beyond full retirement age. Claim at 62 instead of 67, your benefit is permanently reduced by up to 30%. Claim at 62 instead of 70, you could be leaving 76% more monthly income on the table. So why do men claim early at higher rates than women? Research points to several reasons. Men in physically demanding jobs often feel they can't or shouldn't keep working. There's a cultural pattern among men in their early 60s. You worked hard, you earn this, take the money now. There's also an understandable fear that you might not live long enough to benefit from waiting, and statistically, men do have shorter average lifespans than women. That longevity concern is real, but here's what the math actually shows. The break-even point for waiting, the age at which the higher monthly payment catches up to what you would have collected by claiming early, is typically around age 78 to 80. The average American man reaching age 65 today can expect to live to approximately 83. That means for most men, waiting pays off. Not always, not for everyone, but statistically, for a healthy 62-year-old man, claiming early is often the more expensive choice. It just doesn't feel that way in the moment. The actionable step here is, before you claim, use the SSA's online retirement estimator at ssa.gov/estimator to compare your monthly benefit at 62, 67, and 70. See the actual dollar difference. Then consider your health, your other income sources, and whether you can cover expenses without claiming early. If you have a pension, a 401k, or a spouse's income that can bridge the gap for a few years, waiting even to 65 or 66 instead of 62 can make a meaningful difference. Rule number 3, the spousal benefit surprise. This third rule is the one men are least likely to know about, and it can directly affect your wife's financial security for the rest of her life. Here's how spousal benefits work. A spouse who didn't work, worked part-time, or had lower lifetime earnings may qualify for a spousal benefit equal to up to 50% of your full retirement age benefit. That number, 50% of your benefit, can be significantly higher than what your wife would receive based on her own earnings record. Example, your full retirement age benefit is $2,800 per month. Your wife's own benefit, based on her work history, would be $700 per month. Under the spousal benefit rule, she could qualify for up to $1,400 per month instead, based entirely on your record. That's double, and most couples never explore it. Why does this matter specifically for men? Because men typically have higher lifetime earnings and therefore higher Social Security benefits. That means the spousal benefit calculation anchored to your record, often produces a significantly higher payment for a wife with limited work history. There are conditions. Your wife must be at least 62 to claim a spousal benefit, and she must wait until her own full retirement age to receive the full 50%. If she claims the spousal benefit early, it's reduced, just like any early claim. Also important, your wife cannot claim the spousal benefit until you have filed for your own benefit. Your claiming age directly unlocks or delays her ability to access this. On screen, you must file first. One more layer. If you pass away first, your wife may be eligible for a survivor benefit equal to 100% of what you were receiving. The higher your benefit at the time of your death, the larger her survivor check. This is one of the most powerful reasons for a higher-earning husband to delay claiming. Your delayed benefit becomes her financial foundation if she outlives you. The action step. Log in to ssa.gov/myaccount and review both your benefit estimate and your spouse's benefit estimate. If there's a large gap between your individual earnings records, talk to a Social Security specialist or a fee-only financial planner about the spousal benefit strategy before either of you claims. Mistake warning. Let's be honest about what's at stake. These 3 rules, the earnings test, early claiming, and the spousal benefit, are not fine print. They're not obscure technicalities. They are core features of the Social Security system that have permanent financial consequences. The men who get hurt most are not reckless. They're hardworking. They're tired. They figured they'd done everything right. And then one decision, claiming at 62 while still working, or never exploring what their wife could receive, quietly costs them tens of thousands of dollars over retirement. Your wife's long-term financial security may depend in part on the decisions you make about your own benefit. That's not pressure. That's just the reality of how these rules connect. The SSA is not going to call you and say, "Hey, here's a better strategy." That information is available, but you have to go find it. 3 rules, 3 takeaways. Remember these. 1, if you claim before full retirement age and keep working, the earnings test can reduce your benefit dollar for dollar above $24,480 in 2026. Know your income before you claim. 2, claiming at 62 permanently cuts your benefit by up to 30%. The break-even age for most men is around 78 to 80. If you're in good health with other income, waiting usually wins. 3, your wife may qualify for a spousal benefit worth up to 50% of your full retirement benefit, potentially far more than her own. Your claiming decision directly affects her long-term income and her survivor benefit if you pass first. Check your benefit estimates at ssa.gov/myaccount and review them together with your spouse. And before you make any claiming decision, especially an early one, understand exactly what it will cost you over time. If this video gave you something to think about, hit subscribe. Every week we cover real Social Security and retirement rules that affect real people. No fluff, no scare tactics, just information you can actually use. Drop a comment below. Which of these 3 rules surprised you most? I read every one. And if you know a man in his 60s who hasn't looked at his Social Security strategy yet, share this video with him. It could be one of the most valuable things you do for his retirement this year. See you in the next one.